Today we're talking about Ostara in just a moment. Hey guys, I am Mel from Melsdivination. I'm the owner, the operator, and the creator here, and today is Witchy Wednesday, and on Wednesdays we talk about upcoming witchcraft things, events, spirituality, celebrations, and many other things on this channel. We also do Flip Through Fridays, and we do astrology on the weekends. Today we're talking about Ostara, which is also known as a celebration, a pagan celebration that is on the spring equinox right around Easter time. We're going to get into that a little bit more in a moment. I just want to let you all know and remind you all that you can find me at melsdivination.com. It's always evolving. There's new services being offered all the time, and there's a blog over there that gets a little bit more information or different information than what I post on here. So feel free to check all of that out. Now let's get into the Ostara thing. What is this? It's really celebrating the arrival of spring. Now, pagan people, pagans in general, not just witches, but pagans also celebrate something called the Wheel of the Year. And not everybody celebrates this. If you're a pagan, you don't have to. It's like being a Christian and maybe you don't celebrate some of the Christian holidays. It doesn't really matter. You can pick and choose. But this is very general, okay? We're talking generalized. There's 8 Sabbaths throughout the Wheel of the Year, meaning throughout the calendar year that pagan people observe. This has happened for traditions of years and years and years, centuries ago, but even in modern pagan and Wicca witchcraft traditions, people are still celebrating it, but how it looks today rather than how it looked centuries ago. Ostara usually falls around March 20th to 23rd, somewhere in that window of the Northern Hemisphere, which marks the point that day and night are equal lengths of time. We also have something similar to that in the fall equinox, but we're not talking about that. We're talking about Ostara today. Let's get into the history about this. So the name Ostara is believed to be derived from Esoter. I may not be pronouncing that right. I'll put it down here, Esoter, a Germanic goddess of fertility and dawn. The festival has roots in pre-Christian celebrations of the vernal equinox, focusing on the themes of fertility, of rebirth, and awakening of nature after the long winter months. There are many ways to celebrate Ostara, and a lot of these align in a way with Easter traditions. They may sound familiar. Pick what resonates with you, leave the rest. Again, this is a very vague, brief, general video sharing with you all, but it's something that needs to be, in my opinion, acknowledged. And there's nothing wrong with you if you choose not to do anything about it. Totally fine too. Different ways to celebrate Ostara. First of all, make it your own. Do whatever works best for you. For one, you can create an altar. This altar could exist of symbols of spring. Fresh flowers, eggs, seeds, images of hare or rabbits, kind of like the whole Easter bunny because they're associated with fertility, using pastel colors to represent the vibrancy of the spring energy that comes in. You could do egg decorating. Coloring an egg is a common Ostara activity, actually, and it symbolizes fertility and new life. You can use natural dyes to create intricate designs or do something with paint and markers. Planting seeds is a third one you could do. As a symbol of growth and new beginnings, planting seeds or bulbs during Ostara, you can later transfer them to your garden as pot or keep them as potted plants. It probably is not necessarily the best time of year to put anything in the ground just yet, but you could start like a mini baby nursery in your home, which I hope to do this year. I've been meaning to every spring, and I haven't done it since I've had my house because it's tax season, and I'm usually very busy doing that. So it only takes 5 or 10 minutes to gather some materials, put them in these little cups, and put a few seeds in and monitor them. It takes just a few minutes to do that. Going on nature walks to observe signs of spring noticing potential flowers that might be trying to come through, or trees that are starting to develop buds. And there's something that I want to say about that. It's this returning of life, returning of the wildlife coming back out of their little cages, that whole energy of the season. What I want to say is there's things that I've actually never heard anybody recommend in these videos about working with the seasons. I'm not saying nobody's ever recommended it. I'm saying I haven't heard anybody recommend it. My mother and my aunts and I, my family, we're very outdoorsy. So where I grew up, where my mom grew up, we'd walk through the woods a lot. There was a lot of woods. There was very protected land behind their house. So there was woods and all kinds of water features and things like that. Lots of animals. And my aunt, who is an herbalist, taught me to look for, when you look at the trees or at the bushes, their branches will start to turn a little bit of a reddish color. You can see little hints of red, especially like from the distance a little bit. And when the light hits it just right in the springtime leading to the summer, and it's when the sap is starting to flow into these branches and bringing that life back into the plant. I've never heard anybody recommend looking for that as a sign for Ostara or spring equinox. But that's something that I was taught to do by my family who lives close to the land, close to the nature. And that's a little tidbit that I've always enjoyed. Like, oh, the sap's starting to run. It's starting to get warmer. The trees are starting to come alive. Things like that. You could have a big feast, preparing a festive meal using fresh seasonal ingredients, considering dishes with eggs, spring vegetables, light flavors, and sharing the meal with your family or friends. You could light a candle to represent the returning of the warmth of the light and focusing on the balance of the day and how things are in perfect synchronicity and perfect harmony. You could do a ritual or a ceremony. There's all kinds of things you can do around with this. Honoring the themes of Ostara, which is fertility, balance, and renewal. This could include anything from meditation to doing chants to doing specific spell work that is aligned with spiritual beliefs. Anything that is in balance, anything that is equal, that makes a big push during this time of year. 2 more things, and then we're pretty much done. Spring cleaning. Symbolically cleanse your living space to welcome the new season. Declutter, refresh your home, get rid of stagnant energy from the winter months. There's a lot of things you can do with that, and you can recharge and re-protect your home. You can do it with your car. I recommend if your car is messy, do it with your car, clean your car out. Anything that where you spend time in can be used to be spring cleaning. And there's a reason why spring cleaning happens at this time of year. And it's because everything's coming back alive and we want to feel good and we want to get the yucky, the stagnant stuff out. Attending community events. Checking for local or pagan or witchcraft gatherings that can celebrate Ostara. Maybe participating in community activities that can enhance the sense and connection of the celebration. If you're in an area that has places like this, a great way to find things like that around you using the Meetup app. There's a lot of different kinds of things on there. And believe it or not, even though I know a lot of people don't use it anymore, Facebook. I have found more local pagan things on Facebook than I have found anywhere else. So check that out too, if you're interested. The final thing that I would like to recommend, which is kind of a combination of spring cleaning and getting outside, is while going on nature walks, take some gloves, take some bags, and collect the trash, because there's always trash. Unless if you live in the total wilderness where there's not a lot of people, there's going to be trash. There's going to be blown wrappers and things, and depending on where you live, it may be worse than other places, but there's always something that you could pick up and throw away. I say gloves because you want to, latex gloves or plastic gloves, whatever. Use Obviously, don't use latex if you're allergic to it, but something to protect your hands, because some of the stuff you might pick up, you don't know what's been on that. So pick it up with some kind of protectant on your hands. But doing that is also a way to, one, give back to to nature, reconnecting with nature, and it's part of that spring cleaning, but you're spring cleaning the earth, and that it brings in, first of all, a good feeling to self, but then it boosts your connection with the universe and bringing in harmony. So that's a big one that I like to do. Now, remember, the ways to celebrate Ostara is based on personal beliefs and very specific traditions. Obviously, adapt them. Adapt them to align with your spiritual practice and your spiritual preferences. And if you're still in the broom closet, most of this stuff is not obviously witchcraft or pagan or something like that. Most of this stuff aligns with what's already been happening in the season. So that's just a little tidbit. I hope that helps you guys. Have a wonderful time. Let me know what you're doing. If you're going to do anything, don't feel pressured. If you're not going to do anything, you're not going to do anything, and that's cool. Don't let me or anybody else in the witchcraft community make you feel like you're less than just because you don't celebrate it. You don't have to. There's zero requirement for that. It doesn't make you any less of a witch than me. It doesn't make you any less of a pagan than me. None of that. It's totally individual. I hope that helps you guys. Obviously, this was just a brief giving tidbits and a teeny tiny back history. There's so much more information on Ostara, and I actually have an entire book of the Llewellyn series that I've been working through. I have so much more to read of that, and when I do get through it, I will share more information around that. I hope you guys have a great time. Bye for now.